Worst city in the USA video. City is terrible. We're going to go over this area here that's new, and it's been on fire, and all these properties were high-class properties back in the day, and you can see that this building has been caught on fire. The roof and that is gone completely. It all burnt up. People went in there to live after the building was abandoned and caught fire to it, smoking, doing drugs and stuff. Here's another property that's completely abandoned and ramshackled. And then we go to this house here that you can see was pretty nice. It had siding on it. It was all good. But then they caught that on fire going in there. So they love to catch stuff on fire and burn it up here in East Cleveland. So we're going to go by an area that we went past before in one of our videos and show you some of the new stuff that they've dumped since we made the last video. And we're going to show you some work that the city did, which you can form your own opinion about, but in my opinion they should have done something different. Okay, there's no do not enter here sign nowhere, so I'm going to enter this property, this area, and right away, even though it's abandoned areas, it doesn't say do not enter. Okay, right here, we were at this building before. We actually went inside this building that's been burned up on fire. This stuff right here was not there the last time we made our other video. If you watch our other video, that garbage there that was dumped, that table and that couch and stuff was not there. Okay, the building is burned up. Okay, it's all bad there. Okay, but we go down here. Get it back. And you can see these trees. And a lot of these trees right there, that stuff was dumped since we made our last video, which was only about a week or 10 days ago. All that stuff right there has been recently dumped. Okay, as you can see, it's fresh. They dumped it off, all that wood and stuff. All this stuff here, this trees and this kindling and these leaves and this brush and stuff, all this stuff here was dumped since our last video. Okay, if you watch our last video, you can see it where this stuff wasn't there. So this is again the school building, the school supply building. But if you go over here, if you remember in our last video, if you watched it, this whole parking lot here was full in front of this building. It looks like this stuff here is new stuff that's been dumped since the city brought a backhoe in, and instead of picking the stuff up and taking it away to the dump, they just shoved it up to the building. Okay, you can see where it's all been scraped. The ground has been scraped with a big old backhoe truck, a backhoe machinery equipment, and they scraped everything, just pushed it up to the building to block people from getting in there, which is okay, but they should have taken it away to the dump. So that's pretty bad the way they do that when they could have done much better. Cars going past this building here. Okay, in our last video we filmed this building, and that piece of that wall fell in. That big section of that wall there that you see fell in. It was standing up before and it was bowed in, and I put in a video that that's going to fall in, and hopefully nobody's there to kill them when it happens. But it has fallen in since then, since a week or 10 days ago, and it's just completely done for. The city should tear it down. But they took all this stuff and took a backhoe and just pushed it all upside the building there, when they should have taken it and loaded it in dump trucks, all that roofing materials and old shingles and drywall stuff and empty barrels and plastic bags, when they should have put all that stuff in a dump truck and taken it to the dump. This here has been dumped obviously since they scraped all this stuff on the ground, and because it's out front here. So the city knows of the dumping problems around here, but you see what they do. They push it to the building and just made room actually for more people to come dump more stuff. Okay, this is minor here, but these leaves, these bushes and trees, as you can see, it's tied up with a rope. Those bushes weren't there in our last video. Some of this stuff here that's been dumped was probably in the last video, but they made no effort to clean it up. Tires are there, old mattress or box springs or whatever are there, and you can see this brand new fire hydrant in there, in the bushes in there. That is not accessible if the fire department comes to put out a fire in one of these buildings, which happens commonly. I just showed you buildings that have been on fire, multiple buildings that have been on fire. All this garbage and stuff is dried out in the sun. It's very flammable. If you throw a cigarette butt on it, it's liable to go up. And the fire hydrant right here, as you see, is tucked in there way behind the bushes. It's not, the area hasn't been cleaned out. It's got a brand new fire hydrant, a brand new utility pole, but the fire department would have to do work to get to that fire plug if they had to put out a fire. So it's not a good situation, and we've shown you what extra has been dumped since we made our last video, and some of this stuff here is new because we didn't videotape it before. But as you can see, everything is overgrown. The overgrown areas are covering up garbage that's been dumped in there that you really can't see. This house here used to be a beautiful house. It's all overgrown and dumped. It's just totally, completely ramshackled. So this video just goes to show how much damage and dumping they've done, what the city has done to fix the problem, which is basically nothing, considering that they didn't do anything but push it up to the building when they should have taken it away. They know it's a hazard. That's why they did push it up to the building, but they didn't do the proper operation in taking the garbage away. So it's not that good of a situation here in East Cleveland. We're going to go down a street called Orinoco Street. See how many empty abandoned houses we can get. I'm only going to film one side of the street, but I'm going to count both sides. This street should be pretty good. A lot of people live on this street. Wow. Reggie's house is gone. Wow, that house must have burnt down. There used to be a house right there with a guy that I knew named Reggie. Now it's an empty field. That house is abandoned across the street. That house that used to be there in that field, the guy's parents died. His father died and his mother died afterwards, shortly afterwards, and he was a user, and obviously he had the wrong people in the house or whatever he did. I'm just speaking from experience, knowing him around, and because he did a little work for me in the past, and obviously the house must have caught fire and they tore it down. So here's another house completely ramshackled. In the back there's a lot of garbage, all kinds of garbage everywhere. Another house over here that's wide open. These bad properties are wide open so the kids can get in them. There's nails and broken glass and needles and bullet shells and empty empty drug paraphernalia, empty alcohol bottles, and the kids can get a hold of that stuff and get seriously hurt or injured, and the city, they don't do anything about it. They don't care. Here's another big old house right here. We'll drive past it. Okay, this house, both of those houses there on that corner, if you can see, are empty and abandoned. They're ramshackled. I guarantee you there's not a piece of wire or a piece of copper or a piece of metal in there. And you go to the other corner there, another empty abandoned house. Okay, overgrown bushes and shrubbery, but the front door is open. You can see that front door is cracked open where children and kids can get in there. I see there's a notice on the door frame there that probably says abandoned, condemned, do not enter. Looks like there's also a lock on the door from a real estate company for somebody to buy it, but that door is open. That's just an invitation to kids to come in there, and then that's right next door to a house that apparently people live in. So those are the types of conditions that the citizens of East Cleveland have to put up with. Okay, here's another house. It looks pretty nice. They try to keep it up, and right on your same street there's all kinds of abandoned houses, properties that are burned up, all of that. So the street conditions are pretty terrible as well. I'm going across some areas now, if you can see it, where there's just big chuck holes. This car in front of me is blocking it so I can't see it, but there's just big chuck holes where, if you can see, the streets are just terrible. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, and the city won't fix it because they can't afford to fix it, and it's bad. It's a hazard. Even just the streets are hazardous. So 90% of East Cleveland is pretty bad. Now, right across from us here is a business that used to be a restaurant. It used to be a money exchange. It used to be a bank, or a tire shop. That's closed and shut down and got all kind of stuff. I see it says child care now, but it's shut down. This here used to be a restaurant. The grass is cut, so the owners are keeping the grass cut. Okay, but the business is shut down. You see the boarded up windows because they broke it in there. I'm surprised they didn't steal these aluminum window frames. Okay, but this used to be a restaurant. I believe it was a chicken restaurant where they sold chicken, fried chicken. So let's go around the back here and see. Okay, it looks like they have been dumping, but the owners of this property look like they've been keeping it pretty clean. The grass is cut. If you see, there's no electrical meter in that box. Okay, once the electric company takes the meter off of a property, you have to go through all kinds of different changes to get them to put a meter back in there. You have to get certified electricians. You have to get all kinds of stuff done to it to verify that the electrical system in the house is good, and then the electric company can get authorized by the city to put an electric meter back on the property. But once in any house, business, any building, if the electric company removes the meter, you have to spend so much money to get a meter put back on the house that most people don't do it. And another empty abandoned house here on the corner, wide open as you can see, ramshackled completely. Next to an empty lot. They've been doing some dumping. Okay, now we're coming on another house over here that they've been stealing the siding off of it. A condemned sign on the front there in red. Okay, it's just completely messed up. And that's the way the people live. How you doing? That's the way the people live in East Cleveland, because the city won't do nothing about it. I tried to keep that guy from getting in the video. So, and then you do have houses like this little house here. It looks okay. The grass is fairly well cut. It does look like somebody lives there. The garage has stuff in it. There's no dumping, and it hasn't been on fire. But that's right across the street from this house that you can see the broken glass. The door is wide open. Okay, the gutters, they've taken part of the gutters off to sell it for scrap. Okay, they've snatched the gutters down. The property is overgrown, some of the stuff, and it's just bad. And that's right by where people live. So let's see how many other houses around this street that are empty and abandoned. Here we're coming up on one right away. Empty, abandoned, boarded up. Looks like a two-family house. And here we have an apartment building that is empty, but it looks like they are trying to keep the property up somewhat. So some people do try to do something because they don't want the city giving them violations on the property, even though it's empty and abandoned, because the city will violate you and take you to court and fine you, and they do all that stuff, and they collect your money in a fine, court cost, housing violations, but they never turn around and do anything with the money. Look at this house. Whole house empty and abandoned, ramshackled, stuff dumped in the driveway, and the garage is, if you can see it, the garage is fallen in, but it's full of stuff that's been dumped. And the house next door looks like it might be occupied. I'm not sure. And that's right across the street from this house here that looks like it has brand new windows put in. Look at the stickers on the windows. Okay, they got new windows put in. They're doing some work. And that's right across the street from this house that's obviously boarded up, overgrown, ramshackled, and a fire hazard, a hazard to the community, and a hazard to the children. The children are a big point, because the city will hold you. Here's another house that's abandoned, boarded up. The city will hold you to exacting standards. Okay, you have to do exactly what they say, or else we're going to take you to court. We're going to give you property violations. This house here is done for. Look at that, the windows cracked, so anybody could just go in there. I'm sure there are people in there. Okay, and that's next door to a house that looks like it is occupied. And you go back down here to the corner, and you have another house that the door's wide open. Door's wide open, overgrown, so you could hide behind there and be in that property with the door open like that, and nobody would ever know. You could dump a body, which is common in East Cleveland. Unfortunately, it's common, so I'm not just saying that to the extreme. It's actually true. You could dump a body in there and it wouldn't be found for a long time. By the time they found it, they wouldn't have no idea who committed a crime. You know, and like I was saying, they hold you to exacting standards. Okay? They'll prosecute you if they have any sort of idea that you're doing any type of child abuse or not taking care of your kids. They'll take your children away from you. Look at this house. Wide open. Grass not cut. Terrible. So they'll take everything from you, but when it comes to them being responsible for the safety of the children and the safety of the citizens, they don't hold themselves to the same standards. Okay, you have to take care of your kids, which you'll do anyway properly, but the city can put your children at risk and not have any consequences of it at all. And all of this is a grave, dangerous risk to the children of the city of East Cleveland, the children who visit in this city, if you're visiting your neighbors or your friends or whatever. Okay, this house here says police on it. Looks like they did some work, but it's abandoned, and that's basically right behind AutoZone there. Okay, and this big building here in front of us is the building that I showed in another video that is right across the street. You go just up this street here where it says do not enter. This building and the building right next to it behind it is ramshackled, broken glass, easy entry, very dangerous, very hazardous. If you can see, that roof is bowed. The roof is falling in, but those bricks are bowed. They're gonna fall, and if they fall on some children, it's gonna kill them. And all that is right here on a main street by the school. It says Shaw High School, and they have cameras here to make revenue. You see the traffic camera right there. That camera works in both directions. Okay, so they have traffic cameras to make revenue for the city here, but they always say they don't have any money to fix this and they don't have any money to do that, but they do. And I don't know what they do with the money, because they're certainly not doing any work to the city. So anyway, folks, that's another short video of the city of East Cleveland and some of the dumping that has been done in the last 7 to 10 days. And it was quite a bit, and the city just let them do it because they know good and well they could catch them, but they choose not to. So please like, share, and subscribe. Share this video so that maybe the city will see it. Try to effect some changes for the good and cause them to do a little bit of something better for the people, for the citizens, and especially the children. The children are my main concern. Adults are grown. They can go in a property like that if they want to, but kids might go in there just because they're curious and get severely hurt. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and as usual, have a good day.
24 hours later.
We made a video of this area just yesterday. We're going to merge this with another video. This is less than 24 hours later, and look at all this extra garbage that has been dumped. I showed in the previous video that the city pushed all the garbage up against the building there to keep people from going in there, and in less than 24 hours all this stuff here got dumped. Wood, plywood. That has to be a big truck that come in there and dump that stuff. That is ridiculous. The city of East Cleveland could stop this, but they choose to let it go because they could bust them. They got plenty of areas to hide and sneak and wait for you to come up. Look at all those roofing shingles. Roofing shingles they dumped. That came off of a big truck. Okay, all this stuff was not here yesterday. If you see the video that this is merged in, this is the second part, and this stuff was dumped within 24 hours. 24 hours difference, and look at all this trash that got dumped. So anyway, folks, it just goes to show you. I want to show you what they did to the donation box. Okay, they have a donation box where you can put clothes in, and I don't know, the people come get them. I'm not sure exactly who it is. We're going to find out here. And they put clothes in them, and they donate clothes, and they take them and they clean them up, and then they put them out, give them away to people. Okay, this used to be of Family Dollar, and Family Dollar abandoned it. Okay, Family Dollar abandoned this building because they keep getting robbed. So it's empty. They left it empty. That's the Cornerstone Project. That's a drug rehab place. Okay, but they're doing this to the donation boxes, and this is ridiculous. They've dumped some stuff there. Okay, the box says Planet Aid. Okay, clothes and shoes donation center. Clothes and shoes, says thank you. You take and you put your clothes in there, and they come and they take them and they pick up and empty the boxes, and then they clean the clothes, and then they donate them to people, give them to the homeless people and that. But look what they do to it before the companies ever get a chance to come and pick the clothes up. Okay, I see underwear. I see a winter boot looks like for a child. Looks like a pretty good, and they take all this stuff out. You can see all these plastic bags that got donated and clothes, but they go into boxes. As you can see, that boxes, they've been in there tearing that stuff up. Planet Aid, trying to help people, and the people that they're trying to help go in and ramshackle it and tear everything up. Something terrible. I'm sure all these clothes were good. It looks like some children's clothes. Those sweatpants there definitely look like for a young child. Some of these other parts, that boot right there looks like for a young child. Okay, so a lot of these clothes could have been good for children, but now it just makes it look like they've dumped it. Okay, and the clothes donations, clothes and shoes donation center, and look what they've done to it. So it's pretty bad, and they probably picked through everything and only got one shirt out of it that they could wear, and threw the rest on the ground instead of putting it back in the box where they could pick it up. They made a mess of it and left it for somebody to clean up. So I'm gonna watch that. Today is Thursday. I'm gonna watch that and see if they clean it up, if the city cleans it up. This is private property. Yeah, Family Dollar used to be in there. Okay, they abandoned it because they kept getting robbed. There's a big camera on the wall there on the ceiling. You can see it by that speaker. I'm surprised they haven't stolen that camera. They probably couldn't reach it. So I just wanted to show you, within 24 hours all that stuff got dumped. What they did to the donation box, because I saw that and I was like, holy smokes. They just don't care at all. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this video, hoping that East Cleveland will do something and make some changes for the better in this neighborhood, because as you can see, it's got a lot of issues. So like, subscribe, and share this video, and as usual, thanks for watching.